So good morning all of you. So welcome to physics online session. So in the previous class we have discussed what is a transistor, so the types of transistors and their working. So we have discussed PNP and NPN transistors in the previous class. So here in this class we will discuss common emitter transistor characteristics. So in the last class we have also discussed that there are three types of configurations are available: common emitter, common base, and common collector configurations. Why? What is the need of configuration? Because we need a transistor. Actually, a transistor is a three-terminal device, but uh, so transistor when its working, it requires four terminal. Okay, if one of the terminal is connected to ground, it acts like a common terminal to the remaining two terminals. Okay, in that way we'll get four terminals. Okay, so common emitter. So we are discussing what are the characteristics of this common emitter transistor. Okay, so here we'll discuss input and output characteristics. Nothing but forward and reverse characteristics are input and output characteristics of transistor of this transistor NPN transistor. Actually we are discussing NPN transistor. This NPN transistor is connected in a common emitter configuration. So here this is an emitter is connected to ground. So this emitter acts like a common terminal to both base and collector. So here we will apply input in between this emitter and base, and output is collected across the collector and emitter. Okay, in this way we got four terminals. Here in input characteristics, in input characteristics in input characteristics we study how so IB changes with VBB. Okay, so how base current changes, how this base current changes by changing the voltage applied to base. Okay, this is about input characteristics. In output characteristics we study how IC changes. So collector current, how collector current changes by varying this VCE. Okay, or collector to emitter voltage, or simply VCC. So these are the input and output characteristics. Okay, now this is the connection. This is about the connections of this common emitter transistor. Okay, so of NPN. Here I took NPN transistor. So NPN transistor and PN. This is a collector. This is a base and emitter. This emitter is connected to ground. Okay, so we are applying voltage to base here. Input voltage is applied across the base junction. So there is a resistor, that is a base resistor. In order to measure the current passing through base, so there is one ammeter is used, that is called a microammeter. So this base current is in the order of microamperes. That is why we use a micro ammeter, which measures current in microamperes. Okay, and this is a base voltage. This is a battery, one of the battery. Okay, BB represents a battery applied to base, VBB. Okay, and this is a variable battery. So here the we want to vary the voltage, and we want to study how the base current changes as as VBB changes. Okay, so IB base current changes. Now we'll study how IB changes by varying VBB. So that is why this arrow mark represents this is a variable battery. So whose voltage can be varied with the help of a knob. Okay, present there. Okay, so when you vary VBB, so the voltage which is across the emitter base junction also changes. So that change can be observed or measured with the help of a voltmeter. This is about the voltmeter. which is connected between the emitter and base, which measures the voltage across the base and emitter. And this microammeter measures the current uh, passing through the base. And so there is one more battery. So here I told that in any configuration, in a transistor biasing, the emitter base junction should be forward bias. So this is a plus terminal, this is minus terminal. Then plus is connected to P, this central region is P, base region. So plus is connected to P and this minus is connected to N. So then it is said to be in a forward bias. So this is the emitter base junction always should be forward bias. So I connected it in a forward bias condition. No, this collector emitter should always be reverse bias. This collector is nothing but N type is connected to positive, and this again N type is connected to uh, negative. Now, so this emitter acts like a common terminal. So here N type is connected to plus terminal. It is in a reverse bias. Now uh, this N type is connected to earth, so it acts like a common terminal. So plus and zero. So it is a reverse bias. It is under reverse bias. It is under forward bias. Okay, right. Now we'll study the input characteristics. How the base current changes by varying this VBB voltage. Okay, so please remember one point. While while studying input characteristics, output parameters output parameter should be kept constant. Okay, so when you change here, when you change IB, so when you change VBB, sorry, when you change this VBB, IB also changes. But we know that IB also IC depends on IB. Okay, when you change IB, IC also changes. Okay, so when IC changes, right. So here. Please remember, so while studying this input characteristics, output parameters should be kept constant. Okay, so when VBB changes, IB changes. Okay, but when this where when this voltage, so there is one more battery. When this VC also changes, this affects base current. It also affects the base current. Okay, so we need the change of AB only due to VBB, not due to VCE. Okay, we need IB current, base current, only due to the variation of this base to emitter voltage, not because of this collector to emitter voltage. Okay, so that is why while studying out input characteristics, output parameters should be kept constant. Okay, right. So while studying, so let us take, when you are changing this VB voltage, IB also changes. Okay, so but this VC should be kept constant. Okay, under this constant collector to emitter voltage, we have to vary this VBB so that IB changes. Okay, but when this VCE changes, okay, so this what happens, base current also changes. So okay, that is why uh, so while studying input characteristics, output parameters should be kept constant. Okay, now uh, for example, I want to increase the base voltage from 0. Okay, see here VBB IB. When VBB, I'm increasing base voltage from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, sorry, 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0 0.5, 0 0.6. Okay, When the voltage increase from 0 to 0.1, there will be no change in the current and 0 current remains 0 up to 0.6. So at 0.6, current starts increasing 10 microamperes. It increases in the microamperes only. Why? Because this base region has a less number of carriers. It is lightly doped. You know that base is lightly doped. The carriers in it is very small, so the current is very small, in the order of 10 in the order of microamperes only. So why it is 0 up to 0.6? I told that there are two junctions in the transistor. One is between collector base emitter, and other is between collector. So I'll draw the figure here, one more figure. This is NPN transistor. There are two junction. This is emitter base junction. This is uh, collector base junction. Okay. So here, so it should be always forward bias. It should be emitter base junction should be forward bias, and collector base junction should be reverse bias. Okay. So when it is under forward bias, even though it is under forward bias, there exists a built-in voltage. So what is a built-in voltage? 0.6 for silicon and 0.2 for germanium. If you take a silicon, if this semiconductor is made of silicon, so for that silicon, the built-in voltage is 0.6 voltage. If the applied voltage is less than 0.6, so it does not, the junction does not cancel. When the applied voltage reaches 0.6, so it acts like a conducting region. So electrons from n-type region can easily cross the junction when only the applied voltage is greater than or equals to 6 volts. Okay, so below, when the applied voltage or input voltage is less than 0.6 volts, there will be no current because depletion region does not cancel. Okay, so when the applied voltage or input voltage is 0.6, the depletion region vanish. Electrons can easily cross the emitter base junction. Okay, so this is about the input characteristics. So when you draw the graph between, sorry, when you draw the graph between the VBB and IB, the graph is like this. Sorry, actually base to emitter voltage. So this base to emitter voltage changes when only VBB changes. So base to we can also write like this: VBE. We are changing the VB voltage across a base emitter junction by varying VBB. So VBE changes when only VBB change. Okay. So we are increasing voltage in steps 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. So at 0.6 up to 0.5, it is 0. At 0.6 it starts increasing. Okay, the current increases. Okay, it is in the order of microamperes. As you increase the voltage beyond 0.6 volts, the current also increasing exponentially. This voltage is known as cut in voltage. This voltage is known as cut in voltage. Okay, so before this region, if the applied voltage is less than 0.6, it is the transistor is said to be in cut off region. This region is known as cut off region. Okay, at cut in voltage, it starts conducting. These are the input characteristics. What we are studying in the input characteristics, we'll study how this base current changes with the VBE, base emitter voltage. By changing the base emitter voltage, how this base current changes, that represents the characteristics of input characteristics of this common emitter transistor. Okay, next we'll study output characteristics. output characteristics. In output characteristics, we'll study how this IC changes by changing VCE. Okay, by changing VCE, collector to emitter voltage. Okay, so right. Once again, let us take some values. So VCE and IC. For example, when VCE is 0, okay, so this is a reverse biased voltage. So this VCC, sorry, this VCC provide a large voltage. Why? Because it is connected in a reverse bias. Reverse voltages are large, and large voltages are applied so that only uh, they can collect the charge carriers. So these reverse voltages are very high. So I represented a big battery here. So this voltage can also be varied here. Okay, for example, if you vary VCC, what happens? So VCC are voltage across collector and emitter. So the collector current also changes. So okay, so what is a function of this collector? Collector collects the majority carriers from the base. Here emitter. The function of emitter region is to collect the majority carriers into the base. Okay, so some of the electrons or majority carriers recombine with the magnetic carriers in the base region. Remaining majority carriers enter into the collector region. So here, what this reverse voltage do? These reverse voltages are large in size, very big, huge voltages are applied. So that is why immediately these majority carriers swept by the battery and constitute this collector current. Okay, now I'm increasing the same VC voltage from 0. When VC voltage is 0, IC also 0. Okay, so I told that while studying input characteristics, output characteristics, while studying output characteristics, input characteristics should be kept constant. If IB is 0, okay, for example, input current is 0. Now I'm studying only the output characteristic. So what happens when IB is 0? Okay, so I'm changing by keeping IB 0, when so if you change VCC, whatever may be the change in VCC, so this collector current do not change. Okay, so here IC depends on IB only. If IB 0, collector is 0, whatever the voltage you apply across the base emitter voltage, it's not ready to collect the electrons. Okay, so there is no collector current. So uh, the gate cannot be opened here. Okay, so when only this majority carriers inject into the uh, collector, then only it collects. If the base current is 0, so emitter do not inject electrons into the base. Those cannot reach the collector, and they cannot be collected by the collector. So that is why if base current is 0, definitely IC is 0, whatever may be VCE. Whatever amount of VCE or output voltage you change, not output voltage, VCC voltage or VCC voltage change, there will be no change in the collector current. Okay, so okay, when VC is 0, IC 0, IB also 0, not IB 0. For we are studying this input characteristics, output characteristics by keeping IB constant here. When IB is 0, for example 1, so voltage uh, 10 volts, 20 volts, 30 volts, so IC becomes 0 only. When IB is 0, whatever may be the change in the this VC voltage, emitter to collector voltage, there will be no change in the collector voltage. Okay, so That is why base current should be kept constant. When IB is kept constant, for example, when IB is 10 microamperes, okay, when 10 microamperes under, we are keeping IB constant, and now we are changing, what VC. When VC is 0, IC is 0, okay. When VC is 10 volts, okay, now current start increasing, become 10 milliamperes, 20 milliamperes, 30 milliamperes, etc. Okay, so under constant base current only, we have to vary VCE so that IC changes. Okay, if by keeping IB 0, whenever whatever the voltage you apply, so between collector and emitter, so the collector current will be 0. Okay, so that is about the output characteristics. If you draw the graph between these output parameters, so I want to change how collector current changes by varying, so collector to emitter voltage. Okay, so it increases under constant IB only. When you have to keep IB constant, when IB is 0, there will be no change in the collector current. So what happens here, by keeping IB constant, so when you change VC, so the current also changes linearly and remains constant after certain value. After reaching certain value, what happens? So even though you change the collector to emitter voltage, there will be no change in the collector current. Why? Because you kept IB constant. This is 10 microampere. For example, I want to explain here. Let me explain here why it has saturated. This is NPN transistor. Okay. So let us suppose there are 10 electrons. There are 10 so under forward bias condition, it supplies 10 electrons. Okay. So when VBB is selected with the input voltage, VB is selected, let us suppose 10 volts, uh, and it is providing 10 amperes of current. Okay, 10 amperes of current, so that it injects, let us assume there are 10 electrons are injected into the base. So some of the electrons, 2 electrons are recombining the holes in the p regions, remaining 8 electrons is here. Okay, so for example 10 volts, uh, there is a 10 volts, so the current is 10 amperes. Why? Because it collected, for example, 1 electron. Okay, at 20 volts it collected 2 electrons, 30 volts it collected 3 electrons, at 80 volts it collected 8 electrons. After collecting all these 8 electrons, so there is no more electrons to collect, so there will be no current after that. Okay, at every time you will see, at every time 8 electrons only coming from the base, so the current is constant. Since IB constant, after reaching 8 amperes, after collecting 8 electron 8 and after collecting all these electrons, the what happens, the collector current do not change. Okay, so initially the collector current increases, but when all the electrons are collected, so IC current remains constant even though VC changes. And because you are changing VC, but there are no electrons to collect, okay, so that is why the collector current is remains constant. Okay, but you can increase this IC by changing IB only. For example, now you, if you provide 20, then only what happens after reaching 20 amperes, so maybe 200 amperes, so it reaches saturation value. Okay, it is for 20 microamperes. Okay, so in the same way, when again IB increases, so IC also increases in the same way. Okay, so this is called saturation region. This is called saturation region. In input characteristics, we saw the cutoff region. This is the cutoff region, and this is the saturation region. Okay, so we'll discuss two more points here. What is the input resistance? What is the input resistance? From ohms, we know that V equals to IR. So resistance R equals to V by I. So R is equals to, so delta VBE by delta IB. Okay. So change in voltage to change in current will gives us the input resistance of this transistor. So we are changing these voltages and current by keeping VCE constant, output parameters. So when you are studying input characteristics, the output parameter should be kept constant, VC kept constant. When you write like this, it is said to be constant. Under constant VC only, we are studying the input characteristics. This is about the input characteristics, input resistance. What about the output resistance? R naught is equals to output voltage by output current. So what is output voltage? Delta VCE by delta uh, delta IC by keeping IB constant. Okay. So here in the previous case we kept the VCE constant. Here we are keeping IB constant. Okay. So this is the output resistance, and beta current amplification factor here. So delta, it is a rate of change in collector current to base current, is known as so current amplification factor. Okay, at constant VC. It can also be written as, for this is for AC current. For DC current, it can be written as IC by IB. So this is called current amplification factor. So where Ri represent the input resistance. This is the input resistance of the transistor. So input resistance is very small. Why? Because emitter base junction is forward bias. Forward bias depletion region width is small, so the resistance offered by that junction is small. So output resistance is delta VCE by delta IC. These voltages are large in size, so the R naught definitely is large. Why? Because in a reverse bias condition, width of the depletion region is large. So small input resistance, large output resistance, and current amplification factor. How much current is amplified here, increased, can be calculated by using this ratio, that is delta IC by delta IB. For AC current, you can take this ratio. For DC current, you can take it simply IC by IB, base current, collector to base current ratio. Mm, sorry, collector to emitter current, IC. Uh, okay, no, base current only. Current collector to base current ratio is known as current amplification factor. This is about the input and output characteristics. Now, input characteristics, what we have studied, how this base current changes by varying base to emitter voltage. Okay, this is we saw one region in the base. I mean, input characteristics. The input voltage is less than the cut-in voltage, so the transistor is said to be in a cut-off region. So and in output characteristics we saw a transistor is in a saturation region. Okay, so now we'll discuss transistor actions. So transistor can be act like a switch and can also be act like an amplifier. Okay, so we'll discuss how this transistor acts like a switch and also like an amplifier. First we'll discuss how a transistor acts like a switch. Okay, so here when you want to use transistor as a switch, it has to operate in cutoff and saturation saturation regions saturation regions. Okay, when the transistor is in cutoff and saturation regions, then it acts like a switch. Okay, now already I told you what are the saturation cutoff regions. So cutoff, and I want to represent here cutoff region. If the base current is zero, it acts like it is said, the diode does not conduct. It is said to be in a cutoff region. When after reaching maximum value, current saturates. So this is called saturation region. Okay, when the transistor is in saturation and cutoff regions, it acts like a switch. Okay, it acts like a switch. Okay, when it is in active region, this is called active region. This is a saturation region, this is a cutoff region, and this is said to be active region. When transistor is in the active region, it is said to be an amplifier. In order to amplify a signal, you have to keep transistor in active region. When it is in a saturation and cutoff region, it cannot amplify the signals. Amplifiers, you know the best example, amplifier, loudspeaker. So, where the input voice, input sound is low, and output will be very loud. Okay, where the sound signal is amplified. So the function is called amplification. Here amplification can be done by this transistor when only it is kept in a active region. Okay, by proper selecting the values of IB and VBE. Okay, so by changing IB and by proper fixation of this IB base current and VBE, we can keep the operating point here. If the operating point here, it can act like a switch. If the operating point here, it can act like a switch. If the operating point here, it acts like an amplifier. Okay, so you can see here transistor has two actions, a switch and an amplifier. So when the transistor acts like a switch when it is in a cutoff and saturation regions. Okay, so what are the voltages in the cutoff and the saturation regions? We'll see here. So this is a figure which tells us how the transistor acts like a switch. Same type of figure, but here we are applying one more input voltage here. Okay, so this is a circuit diagram which explain the working, from which we can explain the working of a transistor as a switch. Okay, so here no, I want to apply Kirchhoff's laws here. Okay, I want to apply, this is a first loop, and this is second loop. This is called input loop, this is called output loop. So I want to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law by applying Kirchhoff's loop law to the input loop. So we get, what is the input loop? This was the input loop. So this is a voltage applied, whatever the voltage applied, so it is utilized by two components, one a resistor and another is transistor. Therefore VBB, okay, voltage supplied is utilized by two components. So IB, what is the voltage across the resistor? From Ohm's law, V equals to IR. So we are applying what is the current across this resistor? IB. And what is the voltage across RB? This is what is the resistance value? RB. So therefore the voltage across the resistor can be written as IB RB. So I wrote it from the Ohm's law. This is one voltage drop across the resistor. This is the input voltage. Some of the voltage is utilized by resistor, and this is the voltage utilized by resistor. Some of the voltage is dropped across the transistor, and that voltage is VBE. Already in the previous figure, I represented the voltage across the base emitter is VBE. Therefore, we can write this as, so VBB plus okay, VBB plus this is VBE. That will be equation number 1. Okay, right. Now what similarly by applying similarly sorry similarly by applying loop law to output loop, we get Kirchhoff's loop law to output loop. We get what is output loop? What is output voltage? VCC. Therefore, this VCC voltage is dropped across the resistance RC. Therefore, the voltage across the RC is ICRC, and voltage across the collector base junction is emitter is common, so a collector emitter region is VCE. Let it be equation number 2. So here the input voltage, here VC is a battery here, okay. So but we collect the output across this collector emitter junction, so this is nothing but output voltage, okay. This is the input voltage, but this is not the output voltage. So this is a battery only, okay. This is a battery. We can apply voltage across VBB, but we can collect it across the emitter base junction. So VC is just the battery. So we are providing, yes or no? So we are providing that is also input, but it is not output. This is the voltage. So across the voltage across collector emitter junction is nothing but the output voltage. That is why VC can be written as VCC minus ICRC. Okay, so this is acts like output voltage. So this is the input voltage, on output voltage collected across what? So collector emitter junction. That is why VCE is equals to VCC minus ICRC. Okay, let us suppose let the input voltage when VBB is equals to 0. When VBB is equals to 0, when input voltage is 0, so input current VIB is 0. I told that base current, the collector current depends on base current. When base current is 0, similarly collector current is 0. When collector current 0, if you substitute IC 0 here, what do you get? Equation number 3. Equation number 3 implies VC is equals to VCC minus 0 into RC. So what do you get here? Output voltage VC nothing but V0. This is V0 as VCC. Output voltage, we got output voltage as VCC. Okay, so right now, for example, if you are increasing the input voltage, we are increasing input voltage nothing but VBB, we are increasing VBB nothing but input voltage increasing. When input voltage increases, IB increases. When IB increases, IC also increases. When IC increases, so what is this value? When IC increases, so the when IC increases, so the value of VCE decreases. VCE become less than VCC. Yes or no? Here it is subtracting. When IC is 0, simply it is equals to VCC. When IC increases, VC become less than VCC. So okay. So VCE actually we can write like this. When IC increases, then VCE decreases below VCC. Okay, so we can also draw the graph here, one more graph, and it reaches and when VC maximum, when VBB further increases, what happens? So IB increases, so IC tends to 0, reaches towards 0, but it never becomes 0, but it tends to 0. So you can also draw one more graph here. So between the output and input voltages, this is the input voltage and this is the output voltage. Input voltage nothing but VBB and output voltage nothing but VCE. If you draw the graph is like that. Initially, when input voltage is 0, when Vi is equals to 0, what is the output voltage? when input voltage is 0, this is the input voltage. VBB nothing but input voltage 0. So here, mm, what about the output voltage? Output voltage equals to VCC, voltage of the battery. Voltage of the battery is nothing but maximum voltage, VCC. Okay, so here V0 equals to, this is VCC, high value. As the input voltage increases, what happens? So here VCE decreases, output voltage decreases. Okay, as the input voltage increases, output voltage decreases. Okay, so but it does not take place immediately. Why? Because up to cut-in voltage, okay, up to cut-in voltage, even though input voltage increases, okay, so IB remains constant. IB remains constant up to 0.6 volts only. So up to 0.6 volts, there will be no changing the output voltage. So if the voltage is increased, the input voltage is increased beyond the 0.6 volts, what happens? Now the output voltage starts decreasing. So when output voltage is very high, so it reaches a saturation value. When all the electrons are collected, so there will be no change in the output voltage. Okay, now it is said to be in a saturation region. When all the electrons are collected and transistor goes into saturation region, now it is said to be in a cut-off region. Cut-off region. Okay, so here what is happening here? Sorry. Okay. Now when transistor here the output voltage is not responding when the input voltage changes. Okay, this is said to be in a cut-off region. Here also, whenever we are changing the input voltage, but output is not changing. So output voltage is not responding to input voltage in two different regions. So this is said to be in a cut-off region. This is said to be in a saturation region. In cut-off region, the base current is 0. In cut-off region, in saturation region, the collector current reaches a maximum value. Here the collector current is 0 here. Why? Because base current is 0. Similarly, collector current is 0. And here in the saturation region, the collector current become maximum. Why? Because input voltage is maximum, the base current is maximum, so the collector current is maximum. So here, but what is happening in between these two regions? So there is one more region in between those two. So where the output voltage changes when the input voltage is varied here. In these two ranges, output voltage remains constant by even though you vary the input voltage. But in this region, the output voltage is varying with input voltage. So this is active. This is said to be active region. It is responding to, this region is responding to input voltage, where the output voltage is changing with the variation in the input voltage. So it is known as active region. When transistor is in the cutoff and saturation region, it acts like a switch. It acts like a switch. When a transistor is in active region, it acts like an amplifier. Transistor acts like an amplifier. So we are talking about the switching devices. When the transistor acts like a switch, when it only acts in a saturation in cutoff region. So what happens? So transistors are designed such that this gap become very low. Okay. So immediately what happens when it is very narrow, when this region, when it become, when active, so here I'll remove here. Here transistors are designed so that the active region very thin. So when you change the input voltage, so what happens after cut-in voltage? It immediately goes to saturation region. So because it made very thin here. This is the cutoff region, and this active region is made into very thin. So immediately it goes to saturation region. So the active region, when active region is small, is very small in switching devices. When input is low, it doesn't conduct, it acts like it is said to be in a off state. Input is high, it is said to be in a on state. So it is cutoff region, it is a saturation region. When transistor is in a cutoff region, it is said to be in an off state. When transistor is in a saturation region, right, it is said to be in on state. So it is used in this type of transistors are used in remotes. If you switch on the button, so current goes to maximum value. So what happens, it is the TV will be in a saturation region, so current is maximum there. So you can see the picture on the screen. When you take when you once again, if you off this button, what happens, current goes to low. It is in a cutoff region. So it switches between cutoff and saturation region only. So that and it cannot goes to active region. Why? Because it is very thin, it immediately jumps from active cutoff to saturation region. So this is the working of a transistor as a switch. Okay. Now when transistor is in active region, then only it amplifies the signal. Okay. So here only I will discuss how uh, transistor as an amplifier. Okay, when this region is broad, when active region is broad, it acts like a uh, when transistor when transistor is in active region, when transistor is in active region, it acts like a it acts like a it acts like a amplifier. Okay, so here voltage gain of amplifier is AV. It is a ratio of output to change of output voltage to change in input voltage, delta V naught by delta VE, delta V naught by delta V. Where is the V naught value here? Output voltage. Where is the output voltage here? This is the we can use this relation. This is the output voltage. V naught is equals to VCC minus IC RC. So here VCC is constant. It does not change. It is constant. So by taking the differentiation of this equation, partial differentiation, delta V naught is equals to, since delta VC, since it is constant, the change in VCC becomes 0, minus RC also constant. You can write it as RC into delta IC. Okay, so that implies delta V naught is equals to minus RC into delta IC. Okay, therefore output voltage V naught is equals to minus delta IC into RC divided by input voltage. What is the input voltage? So this is the input voltage Vi. So delta Vi is equals to, so delta IB into RB. Okay, since RB constant, we have to take the differentiation of delta IB only. So when VB is very small comparison to delta IB into RB, so it can be neglected. Okay, so input voltage we can write like this. So delta IB by RB. So delta IB by RB. Okay, therefore voltage gain can be written as, so here delta IC by delta IB, nothing but the collector to emitter ratio. It is called as current amplification factor. It can be written like this. So beta is into RC by RB. This is the voltage gain of an amplifier. So a transistor when it is in an active region. So therefore where beta AC is the ratio of collector current to base current. Okay, this is a amplifier, a voltage gain of the amplifier. So just remember one point here: when transistor is in active region, it acts like a amplifier, and this is the formula to find the voltage gain of the amplifier. Okay, So from this, we have completed the transistors topic. Okay, thank you.